Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to Answers Life. I hope everybody's doing great today. Well, I did a video. I want to say a few days ago talking about reasons why I would possibly move back to Indiana. Now I want to do a video discussing some of the reasons why I would stay here in Alabama. Now, the footage that you guys are currently looking at, uh, all the footage on this video is footage that comes from my channel. This is footage that I took on my own with my own equipment, my own camera off my channel. And the footage you're looking at is going to be footage of different regions of the state of Alabama. All the way from the northern region to the southern region, the east to the west regions of Alabama, and a lot of places in between. So, for those of you that have been following me, I first came here to Alabama as a visitor back in 2020. I came down here in 2020. I lived out of my van in central Alabama for about 3 months, I believe, and then I went back to Indiana. And when I went back to Indiana, I did not think I was going to return here to Alabama because there were things about Alabama that I just did not care for. But one thing I liked about Alabama was the climate and the fact that down here you can buy housing was a little cheaper compared to most of the country, to include Indiana. Well, when I went back to Indiana, and I was there for a couple more years. No, well, it was about a couple more years. And as much as I like Indiana, as good as Indiana has been to me economically, socially, and in other regards, I still did not want to stay in Indiana because I was growing sick and tired of dealing with the winters. Because, of course, if you're familiar with the Midwest, winters do get a bit cold, and you have days and sometimes even weeks to where you barely even see the sun. So I wanted to move somewhere warmer, but at the same time affordable, somewhere that was going to be within my budget. So I started thinking of places where I can move to. Well, at this point, I did give Tennessee another look. But unfortunately, I couldn't go back to Tennessee because it was way too expensive. And secondly, I wanted somewhere even warmer than Tennessee. Because even in Tennessee, during the wintertime, it does get a bit cold. Maybe not as much snow as the Midwest, but it still does get a bit cold. So then I got to thinking, okay, well, let me go check out Georgia. Well, to make a long story short, I was very close to considering Georgia. The main reason why I did not consider moving to Georgia was because the super laxed real estate laws made me a little nervous. I mean, there's been quite a few stories about people being victims of title fraud. Apparently, if you purchase a property in Georgia, I don't know if they changed it yet, but at the time, I found out that if you purchase a property, let me back up. I found out that someone can walk into a city hall in a town or a city in Georgia and claim to have purchased a property. And the workers, for whatever reason, are not required, and either do they check the person's, I guess, information to make sure what they're saying is true, to make sure their paperwork is legitimate, that they truly did buy the house, or the true owner of the house did give this individual permission to put a lien on the house, or whatever the case might be. So to make a long story short, I did not feel comfortable moving to Georgia because I did not want to move down there and become a victim of property title fraud. So, and obviously, and I mean this in no disrespectful manner, I did not desire to live in Mississippi because, well, Mississippi has the issues that Mississippi has. And I knew I was not going to live in Florida because, well, even back a few years ago, Florida was way too expensive, way out of my budget. And secondly, I didn't want to deal with the hurricanes. Same goes for Louisiana. Now, Louisiana, if I wanted to live in Louisiana, I could have moved down there. It was in my budget during, back during 2021, 2022. If I wanted to, I could have moved to Louisiana. But again, I didn't want to deal with hurricanes. And secondly, I've heard not so good things about their economy. And even to this day, their economy is actually worse off than most of Alabama's, which is quite scary. So, anyways, then I got to thinking about Texas. Well, even back during 2021, the parts of Texas that I would have been interested in moving to, either A, the cost of living was way too high, way outside my budget, or two, if the cost of living was more affordable, well, once again, I ran into that issue of the economics in that area. And secondly, the property taxes in Texas are freaking insane. So, for those of you that want to live in Texas, and for those of you that are watching all these realtor channels talking about different parts of Texas, and they're talking about there's no income tax in the state of Texas, okay, maybe so, but they got property taxes that are out this world. They're high. They may not be New Jersey high, they may not be Illinois high, but they're way higher than what I'm willing to pay. So, for those reasons, I decided, okay, I'm not going to Texas. And I also looked at Arkansas, which I think Arkansas, in its ways, is a lot like Alabama, except without the beaches and a little colder during the winter. And given that it's more in the central part of the country, a few more tornadoes compared to Alabama. Anyways, I did go visit a few places in Arkansas, and this was before I decided to start this YouTube channel. I visited a few different places in Arkansas that I thought I would be interested in moving to. And I was actually close to moving to Arkansas, but I don't know. I told myself, you know what? Before I decide to settle down and purchase something in Arkansas, let me go back to Alabama. Now, the reason why I chose to go back to Alabama over moving to Arkansas was because, honestly, I wanted somewhere not only a little warmer compared to Arkansas, because for those of you that are not familiar with Arkansas, I mean, in Arkansas, during the winter time, it still gets pretty cold. And in parts of Arkansas, especially northern and parts of central Arkansas, they still get snow. I mean, again, not as much snow as you'll get further up north in the Midwest, but it still gets rather cold. They still get a little bit of snow. And northern to, and I was in many parts of Arkansas, they also get ice storms during the winter time too. So I was like, I don't want to deal with all that stuff. I want to go somewhere that's warmer, to where I don't have to worry about a lot of snow. I don't got to deal with too many ice storms even. So then I got to thinking, okay, well, the only state that's left that's within my price range is Alabama. So I'm thinking, okay, well, the last time I was in Alabama, Yeah, I explored a few different parts of Alabama, but not too many. So now I got to thinking, let me go back to Alabama and do some more exploring, do some more home shopping, and see what happens. So I came back down here to Alabama. I did some more exploring of the state of Alabama. I went to different areas that I didn't go to back during 2020 when I was down here the first time. I looked at a lot of houses, and there is a house that I finally liked. And I went on ahead and I submitted an offer, and that offer was accepted. Now, once I submitted this offer, I began to have cold feet because I was like, man, what am I doing? I'm coming here to Alabama. So, after about a couple of days of sleeping and thinking, I got over my initial, I guess, shock, if you will, and I went forward with this offer. I stuck to my word on me, and I decided to buy this house. So, fast forward to, I guess you can say, so fast forward a little bit. I bought this house, and I did some renovations. Not the house I'm currently living in right now, but this is another house that I owned back in 2021 through 2022. So then, after about, I want to say, 10 months, I sold that house because unfortunately, I was having some issues with my neighbor. And then at that point, I'm thinking, okay, I'm done with Alabama. I'm out of here. I'm going to go back up to Indiana. So I went back up to Indiana again. And this was during the summer of 2022. So even though it was summer, even though it was warm outside, I would say I was up in Indiana for no longer than a couple of weeks, and I was already missing Alabama. And I was also thinking, okay, yeah, this is cool for the summertime, but come winter time, I'm not gonna want to be here dealing with snow and ice and salt on the roads, eating up my enamel and all that. So at this point, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go back to Alabama. I'm gonna do some more home shopping, and I'm gonna see if I can find a city or community that I like. So I did exactly that. So I found another house in a community that I believe that would be good for me, that I would like. And fast forward to fast forward a little bit. As time went by, the region where this particular house was at was in a region to where the economy was super slow. So I decided to put that house on the market and sell it. And even to this day, the house is still on the market. It's still for sale. And I do have an offer on it that I accepted. So we're gonna just see what happens. I'm gonna keep you guys updated on that situation. So now I'm here where I'm at right now, which is in a different region of the state, to where the economy is a little better because I'm closer to larger cities. Now, even where I'm at right now, the economy, it's still not the best, but it's better. And to be honest, even though I lived here in Alabama for the better part of, I would say, 3 years, I'm still a little spoiled from Indiana's economy. Because, like I told you guys on previous videos, Indiana's got a stronger economy compared to most of Alabama. So I'm still a little spoiled from being from Indiana. So why do I want to stay in Alabama? Well, honestly, some of the reasons why I still want to stay in Alabama is because, well, like I've been saying since forever, I enjoy the climate down here. Now, obviously, during the summertime, it does get a little hot. In a perfect world, I would disappear from here and I would go somewhere cooler, like I would go somewhere far up north, like to South Dakota or something. Or I would definitely spend the summer somewhere in the Midwest, like Indiana. I would say for the majority of the year, the climate here, in my opinion, is decent. I don't miss having to deal with snow, and the part of Alabama where I live, the temperatures during the winter time typically are going to be in the 50s, which to me, those are relatively comfortable temperatures for the winter. And I also like the fact that here in Alabama, you do have an abundance of sunlight. It's not dreary and cloudy all the time like it is up in the Midwest during certain times of the year. And plus, for the most part, we don't really deal with snow. Now of course, this past winter, we've had a colder than normal winter, and we also had a snowier than normal winter. As you guys, if you go on my channel, I made a video about the snow here in Alabama. I want to say it was back in. I want to say it was back in early February when we got some snow. We got a few inches, and it was chaotic because we don't usually get snow where I'm at here in Alabama. So yeah, that was fun, chaotically fun. So yeah, I like the climate down here, and that's a huge reason why I prefer to stay in Alabama as opposed to go back up north. And secondly, I am sick and tired of moving. Moving, as some of you may realize, is extremely expensive, it's time consuming, and there is not a damn thing fun about moving, especially when you're attempting to move across the country. So I am sick and tired of moving. I'm 45 years old, and I don't have the energy I had back when I was in my 20s. I just don't. I don't got the energy. I don't got the patience. I'm just sick and tired of moving. And then when I factored in the cost of moving to back up to Indiana, well, let me back up a little bit. I sat down and I asked myself, why would I want to leave Alabama? Why do I want to move back to Indiana? The only reason why I wanted to move back, now there's a few reasons why I was contemplating on going back up to Indiana. Now, I would say out of all those reasons, which I discussed in previous videos, the biggest reason was the economy. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I got to thinking to myself, if I could think of a way to make money here in Alabama outside of my current employments, and eventually outside of even working a 9 to 5, the thought of me leaving Alabama wouldn't even be a thought. Because like right now, I like where I live. I got wonderful neighbors. In fact, the other day, my lawnmower broke on me, and I began to attempt to repair it. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. My neighbor, fortunately, he's more mechanically inclined than I am, and he knew what was wrong with my mower. So he helped me repair my mower and didn't even charge me for it, which, that's a blessing, because if I would have took it somewhere, I would have had to pay. So my neighbor came to my house, and me and my neighbor, we worked on the mower together, and he taught me how to fix this particular part of the mower. So I love where I live. Like where I live, I look out the window, and even though I do got other neighbors around me, for one, they're not real close, and for two, when I look out my window, all I see are trees, sky, and grass. And of course, when I step outside, I do hear nature. If you watch my videos that I make when I'm outside, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And also, it's a lot cheaper to for me to live the way that I want to live. I can do that significantly cheaper here in Alabama than I can back up in Indiana. Like here in Alabama, land prices are still relatively low compared to Indiana. I mean, because right now I'm sitting on a couple of acres, and the house that I'm living in is a pretty decent sized house. The construction of the house, the quality is wonderful. And I just couldn't do this up in Indiana. I mean, I could, but it would cost me significantly more money. It would take me outside my budget when it comes to housing. Like, I'm going to tell y'all like this. Like, for what I have here in Alabama, I got 2 acres, and my house is over 1,500 square feet. If I were, I mean, the money that I got into my house right now, if I were to take that money and I were to go to Indiana and buy something, for starters, when it comes to the lot size, I would be lucky to get a quarter of an acre. If I got a quarter of an acre, I would be lucky. And as far as the square footage of the house, if the house was a single level, the square footage of the house would probably be about half the size compared to what I got currently. Or if the house is bigger, it would probably be a 2 story, which I do not want a 2 story house. I do not want to deal with steps. No, thank you. I like my house, everything on one floor. That's how I like it. So when I look at the setup I have here in Alabama, compared to the setup I would have to accept if I went back up to Indiana, because housing in Indiana is a little bit more expensive. That's another reason why I prefer to stay in Alabama. And I was also thinking the money that it would cost for me to move across the country back up to Indiana. I was thinking I can take that money, take that time, take that energy, and I can utilize those resources into building some type of a business where I'm at here in Alabama. Rather it be a physical business or it be some kind of an online business. I mean, yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time for it to come off the ground to the point where I can to where I'll make a full time income. But I'm just saying I can take that money and that time and build a business where I'm at here in Alabama, rather than moving back up to Indiana. Because the main issue that I have here in Alabama that many people who work in 9 to 5 have in Alabama is these jobs out here don't pay worth a damn. So I figure if I build my own business, then I will be more in control of my income. And again, I realize it's not going to be overnight. I realize it's going to take some time, but I'd rather go that route than to just be moving here and moving there due to the economy. So the last couple of years, well, I would say more so the last year, I also had, I'm also doing more looking in the mirror and truly getting to know myself more and more. And in me getting to know myself, I gotta accept the good with the bad. And sometimes some of the negative aspects about myself, it's not the most comfortable thing for me to think about. But if I'm gonna grow, it's gonna be necessary for me to think about. And what I mean is, and maybe I'm not even sure that it's a bad thing. It's just something that it is what it is, and sometimes it can make certain aspects of my life harder than what they need to be. But what I'm saying is, I have always been the kind of person that I do not stay put for real long. I mean, yes, I do desire a home base, and yes, I do believe that a home base is important to have, though, especially the older you get. However, I'm the kind of person that, you know what, give me my home base and let me be able to go out here and travel the country, visit different parts of the country, spend some time in different parts of the country, and then come home for a little bit, take a load off, rest, appreciate and enjoy my area and enjoy where I live, and you know what I'm saying, and then maybe in a few months take off and go somewhere else and explore different areas and do it all over again. That's the kind of person I've always been. And when it comes to work, I also understand that even if I was back up in Indiana, where the economy's better, where the jobs pay better, I already know that I'm still not going to be happy in regards to my work life because I'm going to still be working 9 to 5. I'm going to still be working for a employer. I mean, my ability to travel the way I want to travel is going to still be restricted. Like, for an example, if I'm back up in Indiana working at 9 to 5, let's say it's the middle of winter. Guess what? The only way I'm going to be able to leave Indiana and go somewhere warmer is to quit that job. So, yeah, the restrictions at 9 to 5, the restrictions of working at 9 to 5, like I say, even if I was back up in Indiana, I still wouldn't be happy like I said, in regards to my work life. And another thing is, so I'm thinking at this point, the best thing that I can do with any type of resources I have, whether it be financial, whether it be time, energy, is to take those resources and work on myself. Because my attitude is if I work on myself and I better myself, I don't gotta move nowhere. Wherever I'm at, money is gonna be there because I'm gonna make it happen. It might now, yeah, like I said, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take a few times of me messing up and falling on my butt, but I'm willing to do it because I do not want to move. Like I said, I like where I live. I do not want to move, and I'm not going to move. Do I miss Indiana sometimes? Of course I do. But whenever I miss Indiana, my attitude is I'll just go up there for a few days at a time, visit family, visit friends, and come back down here to Alabama and do what I do. And another thing which I'm realizing, I can't rely on nobody or nothing to make me happy. I mean, happiness comes from the heart. It comes from within. If I'm not able to make myself happy, how the hell am I going to expect anybody else to make me happy? It's not going to happen. And I already know at this point in my life that no job is going to make me happy. It's not going to matter what kind of work it is. It's not going to matter how much. I'm still going to be out here crying about jobs. I'm going to just keep it all the way real. Because even when I was up in Indiana a year ago, for those of you that have been following me, you know what I'm talking about. Even when I was up in Indiana a year ago, I had the job. I had a job up there. It paid decently. I even owned a house up in Indiana. And guess what? I was still complaining. I was still crying. I was complaining about the fact that A, during the winter it's cold up in Indiana and I wanted to be somewhere warmer. So, like I said, there's times to where I have to sit down with myself, and I gotta have those uncomfortable thoughts and conversations with myself. Because until I do, and I come to grips with some of my shortcomings, I'm gonna be out here moving for the rest of my freaking life. I'm gonna go broke out here, moving there. I mean, like I said, moving is very expensive, it's tiresome, and I'm just not willing to do it no more. I mean, something absolutely dire would have to happen here in Alabama for me to move again. I'm gonna put it to y'all like this. I mean, like that. Now, I do realize that the economy is not the best here in Alabama right now. So I figure at the most, if I had to move somewhere temporarily until the economy came back in Alabama where I'm at, I don't ever want to do that, but if I had to for survival purposes, I would. Which is why I got my van. Which is something that I suggested you guys do if you had to, which is why I made the video about a year ago, Everybody Should Prepare for Homelessness. If you haven't checked out that video, go check it out. I think that video is an excellent listen. But that's the reason why I made that video, because with uncertain economic times, sometimes you're gonna have to pick up and move somewhere, not permanently but temporarily. And then when the economy in your local area gets better, you can come back. I'm hoping that I don't have to go through that. I'm hoping I can stay where I'm at and I don't have to do that. But in the event that I have to, I'm prepared. I'm prepared physically, and I'm preparing myself mentally for just in case. But yeah, as far as me selling my house and moving somewhere, no. And that's another thing. When I sold my house up in Indiana, I lost $15,000 off of that transaction. And I have another house here in Alabama, which the house I used to live in, which I currently have on the market for sale. And although I did accept an offer on that particular house, if everything goes through the way it's supposed to go through, I'm going to be losing money off of that house as well. Do I want to lose money? Heck no. But due to the housing market, due to mortgages averaging 7% interest, and a lot of people just not having the funds to buy anymore, and due to my other house being in a region of Alabama to where the economy is not all that good, I figure I'd rather lose a little bit of money. I mean, I thought about hanging on to that house and becoming a landlord, but honestly, I do not desire to become a landlord. Like, I got too much of my wealth tied up into this other house, so I'd rather sell that house and release as much of that money as possible and put that money in other spaces that to where I think my money will grow faster. Which is why I'm willing to lose a little bit of money off of my other house, the one I used to live in. So the fact that I'm even losing money on that transaction, and then again, I also got to factor in the moving expenses that I had to pay to move from that house to where I'm currently living. So again, more money out the door, more money gone. Money that if I wouldn't have had to spend, I could have used it for other endeavors to grow myself in one way or another. I could have maybe bought myself an investment property or something. So, yeah, reasons like those are the reasons why I do not want to move any longer. I'd rather stay put. I'd rather just, in time, maybe buy myself a pickup truck and a travel trailer, or maybe take a full-size van and build it out into to a space where I can live to where I can live in. It'll kind of be my home away from home. You know, that RV life stuff, van life stuff, whatever y'all want to call it. I'd rather do something like that as opposed to just continuing to move here and move there. Because as much moving as I've been doing it's gotten to the point where I'm even looking at myself like this shit ain't making no damn sense. I need to chill out with all that. And also, no matter where I move, rather it be Alabama, rather it be back in Indiana, rather it be anywhere in between, East Coast, West Coast, up north, down south, in within the United States, within the American continent, any other country. One thing I'm realizing more and more the older I get is it don't make a difference where the hell I move. There's gonna be good, there's gonna be bad, there's gonna be things I like or dislike no matter where I go. So my attitude is I need to find a place, I need to chill out, and I need to learn to accept the good with the bad, and I need to, I guess, be a little bit more. I forgot what that word is called, but I need to just do a better job at dealing with some of the not so good. That way, some of the aspects that are good, I can enjoy them that much more. Hopefully, I'm making sense. And this is an important lesson for some of you younger folks out here, some of you younger people out here to learn. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, it's going to be good, it's going to be bad. And I made a video a couple of days ago titled, Suck It Up, You're going to Have to Work for the Rest of Your Life. Something like that. And that's one of the reasons why I made that video. Because you got people out here that, they moving here, they moving there. They're trying to avoid having to work hard. And I'm 45 years old. And I'm here to let you guys know you're going to have to work. And that's all there is to it. Now, there's different type of work out here. And I do understand that, for some people, 9 to 5 is the best way to go. For other people, starting your own business might be the best way to go, whether it be physically or online. And then there's some people, maybe you want to travel and you're going to pick up a job wherever you go, work it for a few months, then get up and go somewhere else and do the same thing, which is basically, at least for the time being, what I'm going to start doing. I mean, not now, but in a couple of months, once I complete my year anniversary at my job and I get my little vacation time and all that good stuff. And all right, folks, that's about all I got for this video. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. Hopefully at the bare minimum you were entertained. Now there's about 4 minutes left of the video. I would love for you guys to stick around and watch the remaining 4 minutes. You can use those last 4 minutes to think about everything that I just said. And on that note, I will catch you guys on the next one. Stay blessed.